Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning, and each week we bring you a small business success story from Triangle BNI. If you are not familiar with BNI, it's Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle in central North Carolina is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. 29 chapters going strong right now. I've got 6 more trying to get started, about 600 members. We'd love for you to come out and visit. If you or someone you know is trying to start a business or build a business, BNI is a great way to do that. And we share stories each week and about why BNI is a place to be and how you can grow your business. And our guest this week is Pam Goodman with K6 Easy. Pam, good to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are going to get some good stories about helping kids get through school because we've all either we were that student or we've had kids that, stuff happens. And so we're looking forward to hearing that. Pam is the president of RDO1, the Chapel Hill Business Champions. They meet Wednesdays at 10 a.m. at La Hacienda Mexican Restaurant. And Wednesday mornings, Mexican food. Are they serving that yet? Do you get chips and dip with the meeting?
Yeah, they give us a private setting so that we have the private meeting. And then at the end of the meeting, we order some lunch to
Nice.
thank them for the space.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Mexican food. My first job out of college was in Texas, and growing up in North Carolina, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking Taco Bell because that's all we ever had here. And I got there, and that opened up a whole new world. So, I love that stuff. So I know they get you going too. All right, so we are in the middle of February right now. So how does 2019 look for K6 Easy to start the year?
So I have just been awarded a few jobs in Texas.
All right.
And to relate it to BNI, one lady as a visitor came to our BNI, and she was a teacher, and she loved what I was doing, and she'd introduced me to school board members and different people, and she ended up having to move from Raleigh, Durham to Texas. And she was at the UPS store and saw a posting for a bid for a Texas school district, texted me. I went online, I bid on it, and I won.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah. So that's how BNI, like it was a visitor,
Yeah.
and the visitor turned out to, and this school district has now got me accepted into 2 other school districts.
Oh, wonderful.
So,
And we
yeah.
tell people every week, just show up. And that's because you never know. Okay, that's another story I'm going to tell when I go visit as a consulting director for BNI. I've got a couple chapters that I help with. And I'm going to tell them, I try to give them stories of why to show up. And now this is another one. So what was the first school district that she connected you with?
Alamance County.
Okay, where's that in
That's
Texas?
that one was actually in North Carolina when
Okay.
the school board members, but the Frisco Independent School District.
Dallas
They just did
area, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
right. And the director of procurement told me that once they go through, Dallas is next. So, and I haven't got Dallas yet, but
Oh,
the whole point was I was a 10-minute presenter that day. So the person and
perfect.
the visitor could hear what I did with my 10-minute, and she totally loved it. She totally got it. And as a teacher, she embraced it. And so she became my Salesforce, and she didn't become a member. I mean,
Yeah.
every person you talk to is a valuable asset.
Oh, yeah, yeah, which is why you show up every week because you never know who's going to show up. Visitors, that's why we have the meetings for the visitors. Oh, wonderful story.
Last week, we had 2 visitors come, sit beside each other, and they happened to be referral partners for each other. Isn't that awesome?
But that's why, yeah.
No, and you're sitting there watching it happen.
Yeah.
But if they had stayed home,
Mhm. Yeah.
that nothing would have, the connection would not have been made. But this person makes things for events, and this was an event planner together, and they sat beside each other.
Yeah.
And
Wonderful.
they were like, wow.
But that's the beauty of BNI. We tell people every week because it's like-minded people in there trying to not only grow their business, but mainly because of the giver's gain mantra is how can I help you? Oh, wonderful story. So what does that mean now being in the Frisco School District for your business operations?
So what I do is international. I have people from Africa contact me and all over the place because every parent wants their kid to do their best. Every teacher wants the child to do their best. But usually there's something that's missing, a deep root of something that's missing. And I work to fix that. And I embrace that parents are teachers, but they don't have a teaching degree. So usually the child needs maybe 10 minutes. So if I can empower the parent to be that person with 10 minutes, I'll do that. If I can empower the teacher to help them with that teaching tool that they never thought about using, I'll do that. If I work with the child directly and I tutor online, I offered online Frisco's district was offering creative solutions. I was so excited. But even online tutoring, one-on-one, but online, very flexible. Um, they wanted to get the tutoring experience into the classroom. I felt like that RFP was written for me. So, anyway, I'm very excited.
And we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. We'll talk about the workshops that you'd mentioned you do because it takes everybody in the school to get that kid successful. That not only a student, but the parents, the teachers, and the administrators.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. So each week in a BNI meeting, there's a featured speaker, and depending on the size of your group, it's either 5 or 10 minutes. And each week, that person is introduced with the member bio sheet. So that's how we do it here every week. So Pam, we're going to do it with you. Our speaker, Pam Goodman, K6 Easy. Profession is
Educator,
educator.
educational consultant.
Okay. Right. Location and years in business.
So Durham, North Carolina. K6 Easy's been in business since 2003 as an LLC, but I've been working with children for almost 20 years.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll talk about some of those. So previous types of jobs. Now, it's my second favorite question. This is what I tell people. I got your work history. I'm not interested. We can talk about that. I want to know a high school or a college-ish job that was most memorable that makes for a good story.
So I'm hoping this is a good story. But when I was a senior and a freshman, a senior in high school and a freshman in college, I was a waitress at a diner. And I was very good at remembering what people got. I thought it was funny. I would remember cream, no sugar, eggs over easy, whatever their particular was. And every time they came in, I would remember what they liked.
Ooh.
And they thought that was kind of cool. Well, there was these 4 men who used to come in every week, and they wanted me to keep track whose job it was to pay. And so I'm like, okay, like I just thought I'd be funny. So I would make the first guy pay, and then the next week I'll make the next guy, but then I'd go back to the first guy just to be funny. And the guys would go, "No, no, no, it wasn't him. He put," and I'm like, "No, no, no, it wasn't." Like, I'm not an airhead, but I would thought it was really funny. And what it turned out was all the men would pay extra for their own meal because they hadn't paid in like 4 weeks. So I used to get like $50 tips. So anyway, that's what I thought was funny. I made a lot of money selling eggs.
That was your entree into small business, right?
Right.
What kind of restaurant was it?
It was a diner, Four Corners Luncheonette. Loved
Okay.
it. It was fun.
A local
Yes.
in New York?
Yes.
Okay. We'll get to that too in a little bit. All right.
All right.
Next part of the bio sheet is family information. So tell us.
I have a daughter who is at ECU getting a music therapy degree. And it's incredible. You need to Google music therapy. I've seen people with Parkinson's who can't walk after some musical therapy with
Wow.
nothing, no walker, no anything is incredible. I've seen kids talk who couldn't talk. They say any part of the brain that's damaged, music therapy can reach the other parts. And my daughter is all excited and wanting to. She loves music. She loves helping people, and it's the up and coming occupation right now.
How did she put those two together?
The way she found out was she was at school and Appalachian State came to her school and there was music therapy students there. And so she got to talk to them and then she started doing her research and she realized that's it. That's what I want to do.
Is it certain kinds of music?
It depends. So recently, 2 Christmases ago, Duke had a uh, airing on the TV where they were letting patients who just had surgery leave with an iPod. No opioids, no pain medication.
Really?
Yes, and so don't have my degree, but I'm guessing it needs to be specific to the person. You know, you probably can remember some high school songs that'll make you
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean, and bring that back.
They were
And
70s, but yeah. No, they were good high school songs.
But the whole point is,
Yes.
music can bring endorphins, but I have not been taking classes, I can't say, but music affects the brain differently, uses different parts of the brain, and, and opioids and
Wow.
Medicaid and numbing our pain is an addiction right now. So they've actually had children who were addicted to drugs getting removed from that addiction through music therapy.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Oh, very
Yeah, I'm
nice.
very excited for her.
So I wonder for the patients, I wonder if they get songs, obviously songs that they like or do something for them as part of the playlist would make sense, right?
Well, there's a Facebook video with this man with Parkinson's, and he was with a physical therapist, and she had a belt wrapped around him. He had his walker.
Okay.
She let him listen to some country music, and it was like dang, dang,
I like
whatever. And
I
his
like it.
head was getting to the rhythm, and they said that he doesn't have the gait, which I'm not a physical therapist.
Yeah.
The music gave him that gait, And after about 60 seconds, he started walking. At the
Really?
end of the Facebook thing, he was dancing by himself. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know if country music's not your thing. I'm guessing if you listen to
Yeah.
country music, that's not gonna be it for you, but
Country music's good. So I'll just say that. I see the power in it. I can't dance, but I love the beat. But I can see that though. But yeah, something registers with the patient somehow, some way, right?
right. And so the person in me thinks, well, can't he wear an earbud and keep listening to that all day long so he can live independently? But I
Oh,
don't know how
okay.
that works. So, but that video was pretty incredible. So,
So then once your daughter graduates, where does she go to work to help patients?
so a lot of times they're start in hospitals
Okay.
because you're working with the doctor and the physical therapist and the speech therapist, like all the
Yeah.
different
Okay.
modalities.
Yeah.
But she wants to go to Spain because Spain has a American certified clinic there. So she wants to do an intern.
Oh, nice. Of course, you'd have to go visit.
Yeah.
Just make sure she's doing right?
Right.
Oh, pretty cool. I did not know that was I
It's
didn't know that
new.
was a profession
It's
and that
new and it's
wow.
starting to be covered by insurance, which will be
Oh, even
yeah,
better. Okay, well, that's
yeah.
a high sign right there if insurance is covering
And
it.
if Duke's doing it now.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right.
Oh, and I have a son.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't. Yeah. It's always the
And
youngest one. Everybody forgets about,
yeah,
right?
he's in high school and he's 6'1" and he loves basketball and,
Okay.
I love him.
All right. So, which of the kids are more like you?
My son is more like me. He's,
Okay.
very direct, factual, kind-hearted, would not try to hurt your feelings, and if they did, be shocked.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think he'll make a wonderful he won't stop at mom.
And does he know how to iron and do laundry?
I He knows how to do laundry.
Okay.
Does
All
his
right.
mom know how to iron?
Should have led with
Put it
that first,
together.
right? Okay, gotcha. Okay. Because I told my boys when they left the house, they would know how to iron. My wife and I told them they'd know how to iron, do their own laundry, and do some sort of cooking. Because if they could do that, they might be a
Right.
hit. And they could both dance, so that helped too when they went to parties. So yeah.
So he can cook, he doesn't like it, but
Okay.
that's the next one we're
All
really
right.
working on.
Is he looking at colleges now?
Yes, and
Okay.
so but he hasn't nailed down exactly what he did. There's a test that kids can take. It's a military test. It's like an ACT, but called the ASVAT.
Oh, okay.
And basically, it tells you what profession you can have that's your natural aptitude, and my son scored in every area. So now he knows that he could have any job he wants, but he's
Nice.
trying to figure out the passion part,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get him exposure. Maybe we
Okay.
can interview him next
Okay.
week.
Make him narrow down quick. Okay,
Right.
you got 1 hour. Make a decision here. Let's go with a bunch of questions. Any animals in the house?
We did.
Oh,
Milo
no.
passed away.
All
Milo
right.
was our cute puppy.
What kind of dog?
He was a Maltipoo, and he was a rescue.
Oh,
And,
cool.
when we got him, he was probably 7, something like that. And for the first 3 weeks, I told my kids, "If he is good for 3 weeks, then we'll get him." And he was the perfect and he would wag at everybody.
Nice.
3 week and 1 day. Once
Yeah.
he was in,
Yeah.
barkaholic,
Yeah.
wouldn't stop.
He
He was the most genius little thing you ever met, probably 12
Yeah.
pounds.
He
Love
read the
him.
contract. Okay.
Truly,
Yeah.
3 weeks and 1 day, he was a
22nd day.
barkaholic, scapeaholic, freakaholic.
Where'd the name Milo come from?
So the shelter named him, and so my daughter and I did these little treats. "Milo, come get a treat. Milo, his name is not Milo. It is now, but at the time, he did
was
not know
not.
he didn't know who Milo was or whatever, but he looked like a Milo.
Okay. Last night on Hallmark, they have the rescue dog competition. It's the Westminster Kennel Show for rescue dogs, and they have like best underbite, best belly rub, the cool categories and stuff like that. And those are the dogs I enjoy watching and seeing because they're goofy and rescue dogs are great.
So, my daughter was really sick, had the flu, and pizza was her thing when she was a kid and so I gave her some pizza to thinking, "Oh, she might be feeling better now," and whatever, and I left the room, and when I came back, her pizza was gone, and I said,
Mm.
"Stephanie, wow, you ate your pizza, this is great, you feel better," and she goes, "Mom, I didn't eat a thing, I feel sick." I'm like, "Huh? Why?" My son is Nicholas. "Why would Nicholas eat off her plate? That doesn't make sense to me." And so I went around and Nicholas was upstairs, so he didn't eat her pizza. And I went around the room to where Milo keeps his dog treats, and there's a half a quarter slice with his dog treats being treasured. I'm thought, this little dog could not have eaten 2
Mm.
slices of pizza. So later I give Milo his dog food and I go, "Milo, time to eat." And he goes,
Oh, nice. Yeah. And
So
he could eat
he
2
ate
pieces, yeah.
no, and he was slick. He I don't 4 teeth. I don't know. He must have just swallowed it.
Yeah, nice. Smart dog.
Yeah, no, it took me a long time to figure
Yeah,
out that little mouth could get that
yeah.
pizza in there.
Nice. And then he started wanting more than pepperoni. He wanted
Right.
some side. Yes, okay. Smart dog. So your hobbies and activities of interest.
Well, I love kids. I
Mhm.
love helping them. I love the light bulb moment. I worked in
Nice.
grants, with kids who are very impoverished, and they literally jumped up and hugged me when I showed them how to
Wow.
do something they couldn't do. Um, and so I actually would do this for free if I could do it
Mhm.
for free.
And that's kinda the ultimate reward when you get that hug. You see the light go on for them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Keeps you going to the next day easily, right?
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good. City of residence and how long?
So I'm Canadian, but I live in Durham right now. So
Okay.
I was born in Canada, but an interesting story is my mom, uh, lived in England during the war. And so she was a young child when Germany came over and were bombing people.
Mhm.
So a bomb hit my mother's house and they were under the stairwell and it came through the stairwell, missed her head and missed the electrical box and was a dud. And when she went outside, the whole
Wow.
neighborhood was ashes. And then they were trying to flee the children out of the country. So
Mhm.
my mom tried to get onto the ship and she contracted something contagious like chicken pox or measles. I can't remember which one. And they wouldn't let her on the ship.
Mhm.
And my mom was devastated because of all this. And she watched the ship get torpedoed. And
Oh
so I truly
my.
believe that I'm here for a reason,
Yeah.
because my mom should not be.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my mom at 40 fell down in her house and they took her to the hospital and she had cancer in her one kidney, removed it completely. And now
Jeez.
she's, 44 years later and living fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
So she's had
that's
some,
a lot of stories for somebody to have.
yeah.
So how'd she get to Canada? Eventually got on
Get
she got
on
on a
another
boat?
ship. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then so how'd you get to the States?
So she ended up marrying my dad. And my dad was a high risk OBGYN. And he also taught in colleges. So he's a professor, but he
Oh,
practiced as
okay.
well. And, um, and so he was very well known, but he wanted to become American. So long story short, he moved a lot. I had 4 different high schools. I ended up living at SUNY Albany, and my parents kept moving, and I said,
Yeah, yeah.
16-year-old by myself,
Mhm,
bye, I'm not moving anymore. But my dad passed away in 2011, and they did an online, I don't know if it's called obituary, whatever
mhm.
but his students were posting how
Oh,
they're still
nice.
using his techniques with patients, and,
Very cool.
yeah, so I think I got the gift of
Mm.
teaching from it.
So you have dual citizenship.
Yes,
Your kids do as well.
yes.
Okay. All right. Do and we had a question, I forget who it was on a couple weeks ago about that. So will your grandkids have dual citizenship? I wonder how far down that goes.
Yeah, that's a good
And I don't think we
question.
got an answer to that
Yeah,
because my daughter-in-law has dual citizenship, and so my grandson does, but I don't know if his kid I don't know how far that goes,
right.
but, so do you get back to Canada much? Is there
Uh,
family up there?
yeah, we go back some.
Okay.
Yeah,
When it's warm, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
this is a weird story, I think it's kinda cool, but my friend's husband in Canada is in the hospital. That's not the cool part. He got pancreatitis attack or whatever, and so it hurts to eat.
Ooh,
And so they had him in the hospital for 6 days, but he's on this severe medicine that only can be administered at the hospital, and they gave my friend a day pass so she could take her husband home, so he could be with his family, watch TV, sports with his kid,
yeah.
and then he has to go back. I don't think in the States they would ever allow that,
Yeah.
but isn't that kinda cool to get him out he got to
Yeah.
shower at home,
Yeah.
could shave at home, but,
Oh, yeah.
anyway, but it hurts
Huh.
to eat, and that's pretty sad.
But he gets to go home during the day.
Yeah.
Very nice. I like that. Good stories. So your burning desire is to what?
uh, Change our education system so
Mm,
everybody loves going back to school again. I
right.
think there's no doubt it can be done. I think it could be done easily. I think it needs to be a movement. And if anybody wants to participate with me, I would love to have them participate.
Are you a fan of year-round schools?
My son went to year round and loved it.
Mhm.
And what I noticed was the teachers get a break, the students get a break, and then there's processing time in between while they're
Yeah.
not. So, do I like it? The other way's fine by me. I'm a student, I love to learn,
Yeah.
so my kids,
Yeah.
I'd rather go just to go because
Yeah.
you got me curious about that citizenship thing now. I'm gonna be looking at that when I get out of here.
when my boys were little, I would have been a big fan of year round because that summer break is yeah, so I'm with you. I
Yeah,
like because everybody needs a break for a little bit
yeah,
and then go back and you don't feel
yeah,
like you've forgotten
and they
everything,
still
so
get a 5-week summer. I mean,
yeah, oh, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
it still get a summer, and my son doesn't like the heat. So here in North
mhm,
Carolina, he'd probably be indoors more
yeah,
than ever, so he'd rather be at school and get to watch NFL when
there you
it's
go.
that time.
I know when they first started talking about bringing year-round schools, some of the parents that loved and it's a first world problem. "Oh, it's gonna mess up our summer vacation." Like, "Really? That's the best you can come up with? Just schedule a different time." And when you think about it, year-round schools, now if you want to go visit somewhere, you can visit during off time, and you're not, slammed with students and families everywhere,
Like
so
Disney World.
exactly, yeah. I got friends that go there, and they're like they go in February and love it, so,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Key to your success.
I believe it's I'm so passionate. I really believe it. I love it. I believe it. It's in my soul. I believe this is what we need to do. I believe there's a lot of shame in our country on education, and I want to get rid of that.
Mhm.
We have intelligent, articulate teachers, intelligent, articulate students. Um, this needs to be fixed, and I think we can fix it.
Teachers have a rough life
Oh,
because
they
it's a calling because you're not going in there to get rich. But the things they have to put up with, and we moved from Florida a few years ago, and it got to the point where the teachers were teaching the test, the FCAT, instead of teaching the students to learn. And I don't know how you do it. I don't know why so many of them stayed in the profession, but I know it's a calling. They want to help and they get dumped on quite a bit. So they could use all the help they can get.
there's something called a light bulb moment.
Mhm.
And I think for teachers, it might be an addiction.
Yeah.
Because when you have a kid, the
Yeah.
delight in their face
Mhm.
is so
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
I hear on that. Alright, so there's a few people watching, haven't met you yet. There might be something they don't know about you, so tell us something no one knows about you today.
I feel like I told all my secrets already.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Um, alright. I'm actually gonna share BNI.
Okay, good.
So I'm kind of anomaly in BNI. I'm not a realtor, I'm not in
Mhm.
the real estate area, I'm different. And so a lot of times I try to figure out who I'm gonna ask for, and, one time I asked for retired superintendents, and I got
Oh,
one. And I got to meet with the retired superintendent. He validated what I'm doing. He was behind what I was doing, and he helped me make connections with other superintendents. And ultimately, ended up getting a seal on this book from the North Carolina superintendent, who's the executive director in charge of all North Carolina superintendents. So
beautiful.
it's as an anomaly, I still could fit,
Mhm.
uh, but I'm not the standard realtor, mortgage lender, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
But again, that's another beauty of BNI is just ask because you never know who's gonna be there. That's how this show got started. I asked Jim one day, and Jim sent me to Amnon, and here we are talking show, I think number 31. Just ask. If anything you're looking for, just ask because somebody's gonna know something.
Right.
I go back to the Top Gun line with Tom Cruise there at the end. His line, well, the lead up was, "They know what happened to your dad," and here's his pause. He goes, "Somebody knows everything." So somebody does.
Well, everybody
Keep
knows
asking.
250 people.
Exactly, so just
Right.
keep asking. So we're here with Pam Goodman, K6 Easy. She is the president of RDO1 Chapel Hill Business Champions. I always ask people literally the first time they ever heard BNI.
So I had a friend said, "You need to come." And so I went to her BNI
Who was your
and
friend?
Lucy Weismer
Alright.
with, Lucy's Home Services,
Mhm.
and, I went to her Bull City, event, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I was like,
Like
"Wow,
most
that's
of
a
us the first time, yeah.
50 people,
Yeah.
wow," and, um, anyway, that's when the first time I went and got exposed to it, and once I realized everybody knows 250 people, and
Mhm.
everybody really wants to help you, and givers gain, you help them, they help you, and I kinda got hooked on it, and I love people, and, we had one visitors day with 64 guests.
Yeah.
It was swimming in like a river, it was
Yeah.
awesome, and I get high I love that energy
Yeah.
from that, so.
So how'd you get into the chapter you're in?
So I prayed about it and I said, "Lord, make it clear which one you want me to be in." I walked in and Robbie Norris said, "Hey, can you work with my son?" I said, "That's pretty clear."
Wow.
Yes, and
Very nice.
I worked with Robbie's son and seen great things, and so, that's why I picked that one, and it was a smaller group. I think for me, I wanted to start out small,
Yes, I'm with you. Yeah.
yeah, just to get used to the whole thing, and then, maybe one day I might grow up and be the big group, but now I like I like the smaller settings.
Yeah, I've found that I'm in that 20 to 23, 24 sweet spot because I
Yes.
feel like I know everybody
Right,
and you know their stories you can help. But and our, Bull City, I tell everybody they're the New York Yankees and Manchester United of Triangle BNI. They're so big, but it works.
right,
And when you want to be in a room with 50 people plus 10, 12 visitors every week, some people like that
right.
and that's good. But yeah, so and that's the beauty of BNI. People can go to trianglebni.com and in the upper right hand corner, there's a drop down box says find a chapter and it lists all the chapters 5 days a week, mornings, lunch. Go find the location you want, the time you want that works for you, and please go visit. Many of the success stories in BNI are rooted from a passion, and you've spoken of it already on the show, and I know this passion. So, how did K6 Easy start?
So actually, I was in the parking lot and, there was 2 parents in the parking lot talking bad about the teacher, and I noticed the kid was feeling bad sitting back there, and then I walked into the school and 2 teachers were talking bad about the parent, and it broke my heart for the child
Mm,
because all these adults are emotional, upset because I can't learn something, and so I said to myself, "This has gotta stop, and it's gonna be me." And so I started out and I started writing books. And so I wrote Unleash Your Child's Potential. This is how children learn. If your child's struggling in anything at all, you should read it and then you know how kids learn and what you can do. Then I wrote a kid said, "Can you write a book for students?" So I wrote How to Be the Best Student You Can Be because everyone has a job. The teacher has a job, student has a job, and the parent has a job. And if everybody tries to do each other's job, it doesn't work. It's the teacher's classroom. You can make suggestions, but there's lots of things at home that you can do that would just be powerful. I created more, but then there was also told to put them in Spanish. So this is the visual guide. 65% of us are visual learners.
mhm.
Let's boost them up in preschool so they know and they understand. So that when they get to kindergarten, they're confident and they know how to be a good student and what they do. And then homework hassles, the drama, and this is one's converted into Spanish. But we need to get rid of the drama. A lot of times, the drama is because the child's frustrated, they feel ashamed, and they're a little too young to express themselves appropriately. And then I thought, let's rock everything off and say how to rock the 3rd grade EOG. I got the seal of approval. It's not that hard. It's just being empowered and understanding and knowledge. So I'm trying to take everything and simple it down. I also work in middle school and high school. I even had a college student the other day. So it's not that hard. It's just parents or teachers, they don't have a teaching degree. Kids don't know how they learn because they haven't been taught that. And sometimes we need to try something.
Then go to k6easy.com to
Yes.
get more information on the books, please do. So, after that night, you woke up the next morning. What was the next step for you to
I
get to become part of the solution?
Actually, I just started writing. There's a lulu.com, which is a free way to write a book, and I just
Oh,
started
okay.
writing, and then after I got it, it looked a little homegrown, so I I asked for anybody who knew publishers, and I found a local publisher, and they created some great designs on the covers of the books and tweaked it a little bit, made it more professional looking, and then I reviewed them with principals, and they said they loved them. Put them in Spanish. I put them in Spanish, and, but basically, I'm trying to empower everyone.
Mm.
Because if the parents empowered and the students empowered and the teachers empowered and they're all on the same page, the kid just
Oh,
flourishes.
yeah, yeah, because it truly is all about the kid. I mean, we hear that a lot because sometimes I feel like that's a throwaway line for people who don't wanna do work or wanna slough it off to somebody else when they say, "It's all about the kids," and you find out who really is dialed into making sure it's all about the kids.
Right.
How'd you come up with the name of the company?
So it used to be connecting the dots for kids.
Okay.
And somebody told me that was a little long. And an attorney said he thought it was a little bit too open for whatever. So we came up with K for kindergarten, 6 for 6th grade, easy in
Mhm.
between. But so I'm really connecting the dots for kids doing business as K6
There you
Easy.
go. Okay, alright. And how many tutors, how much help do you have with this, or is it just you doing all this?
Right? So my point is to train and empower.
Mhm.
So to train and empower teachers, train and empower students, train and empower parents. And so I do workshops, I do presentations, I've done grants in schools. And so it's not that I want to become the biggest tutoring company in the nation. I actually want to eliminate tutoring. is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the child's needs met at school,
Mm.
and whatever that hump is, help them get over it so they know the next time they get a hump, what they need to do.
When you first started this, what was the connection? Where's the you talked earlier about the light bulb moment. What did you see went on with the teachers when you first started doing this that they're like, "Oh, wait."
I've had many teachers tell me, "This is the training we need. This is the training we want." Um, and so I know a lot of teachers are looking for how to teach skills a little differently. A lot of kids that we have today are really, really bright. They're actually brighter than ever, and they're born with a little anxiety. And so some of us is we need to understand what anxiety is because every kid wants to be the first one done. Kid wants to be the smartest kid in class. And kids will choose to be the class clown
Mhm.
instead of the class idiots, which
Yeah.
is the way they're thinking. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
thinking. And that's because they haven't had anybody spend time with them and understand this is how we learn. This is how it works.
When you got so you're up and running, you've got books out there, you've been talking with people. So once you first started talking, getting the parent and the student in the room, where was the disconnect between them that you saw that you could solve?
The biggest disconnect is when the teacher is worried and the parent is worried, and the child looks up and says, "Wow, those
Oh,
adults are worried about me. There's something to be worried about." And that's the biggest part is we need to role model belief and the words "not yet," "you don't have it yet," those kinds of things. Because when we start feeding our children's worries, then the child can't think and the game is over.
were the parents and the teachers worried about the same thing for the right reason?
Probably.
Okay.
But
Right.
they needed a new idea, a new strategy, something different to try, and they had exhausted them all. Usually what happens is I'll have a presentation and then parents will come afterwards and
Mhm.
say, "Oh, my child does this and this and this." I said, "Well, have you tried this and this and this?" "No," and they're so grateful, and then they go run off and they go try it, and, so everybody's just looking for new ideas.
Okay. And this has been embraced by the schools as well? And what's your role with the schools?
So currently, Durham Public Schools has me as one of their preferred vendors. I'm in their Durham catalog, so I'm getting schools calling me for classes and workshops that I'm in the Durham Public School catalog. I am working hard on Wake County. Haven't got in there yet, but I have a friend helping me. I've got a lot of parents pushing
Mhm.
that, but Wake Forest is a big beast.
Okay. Yep.
And then, Frisco Independent School District is gonna be great, and, the Coppell School District, and then hopefully
Yeah.
Dallas soon.
Okay.
So,
Wonderful. And so what's a normal week for you between the percentage of tutoring, doing workshops, visiting teachers, superintendents, schools, and all that? I mean,
I would probably say 40.
okay.
And right now we have a workshop this Friday. It's called Brain Power: How to Get the Edge. And this clinical neuropsychologist saw me present and she wanted to partner with me.
Oh,
So
wow.
she is certified with brain and a psychologist and how it works for 18 years and older. And I'm going to do the 17 years and younger, and we're going to do it together. And it's this Friday.
Oh, very
So a
good.
lot of new opportunities and things like
All
that
right. Tell
happening.
us where it's gonna be and when.
It's gonna be at the Frontier, the
Mhm.
classroom, this
Love
Friday
that
at
room. Yeah.
11:30. We've got part of BNI is we have a $750 of, businesses donating services like house cleanings and products and, meals and things like that. So, I love how BNI and what I do is like community, teachers, parents, all come together. And this event is for everybody, anybody who wants to be sharp for the day, stay at home moms, executives, small businesses, teachers, anybody who wants to be sharp and have an edge.
One of the things I like about BNI is it teaches you to grow your business, but you're looking for kinda looking at to market. Who am I marketing to? Because it takes a while to figure out, okay, who's my ideal client or best referral partners. So when you stand up and you do your 30 seconds or you do your 10-minute presentation, how long did it take you to figure out to educate your fellow members on what to look for you?
Right. So that I think has been a little bit difficult because I'm an
Mhm.
anomaly and I'm doing it, creating it as we go. I'm
Yeah.
like the beginner. And so um, what I find is each person thinks about things differently. So, like when the teacher was in the room, she knew school board members, and that school board member got me a meeting with the superintendent in 3 days. So I thought, wow, well, I learned from that. I'm going to ask for school board members, but
Mhm.
other school districts are not the same. So I have to tweak it a little bit. But anybody who cares about education, I would love a referral partner with Scholastic. I've not been able to do that
The
yet.
magazine?
Scholastic, the teaching company.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
they have books and they have
Yep.
educational things, and I would love a connection with Scholastic, and I have not got one yet. So we'll try that today. That's
Okay.
the whole point with BNI. Keep trying and you'll get it.
It's in BNI, the 2 toughest referral people I've noticed is finance and health, because there are just certain questions you don't ask people, just you just don't know. It's like, wow, you look as I tell people, I laugh all the time. It's like you pull up in a 450, 2019 450. It's like, oh, Pam, you must be loaded. You got to talk to my finance person. So he can't do that. And education's kind of the same way because that could be an uncomfortable question for people to ask or to walk up to you as a parent. I know probably would have bothered me. It's like, I need some help with my kid. There's a disconnect here.
Right, because it's very emotional.
It
They
is.
care so much.
Yeah.
And so I just lay it as, how would you like to supplement? Like, what would you like to do at home? Things you can do at home.
Okay.
I don't necessarily say that every kid's in trouble, but every kid does not know how they learn, and every parent doesn't know. And so it's really more of an information session. But you're right, the emotion is the biggest part of this whole thing, is the shame and the worry and the
Mhm.
and that kind of stuff.
And you had mentioned earlier that everybody learns differently. I'm a visual person. I've got to just let me look at it for a little bit, and even on the one to ones we do, which in BNI, you get together with somebody in your chapter, and you learn more about them, how what they're like, and so you can help refer them in the like, know, and trust. So in a one to one, I can't do one over the phone. I just cannot stay focused if it's over the
Yeah.
phone. I need to meet somebody for a cup of coffee or something like that. It took a while, and my 2 boys are 3.5 years apart, and they were different. So, if 2 people in one house that are related are different, a school with 1,000 kids in there, there's 900 different
Yeah.
ways to get to them, right?
So Dr. Howard Gardner uh, has multiple intelligence, and social intelligence is a learning style. So the visual social
Mhm.
piece, not just necessarily on the phone and multisensory wise. So
Yeah,
it's not just auditory, visual, and
yeah. So, how long is it when you start tutoring a student? So, what's that program like when a parent approaches you and said, love for you to work with
kinetic.
my kid?"
So the first thing I do is I teach them and I show them examples and how this is how we learn, and it's a really the beginning part is just opening their world to seeing. And then usually at the end, they're asking me, "Can you show me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that?" And then we can go to skills and drills and all that kind of stuff. But in the beginning, it's really opening their world to, wow, there's nothing wrong with me. I just might need to look at this different.
Oh, yeah, I believe in
Right.
that. Would they come to you sometimes it's a particular subject that they're having trouble with or just studying and learning in general?
So most parents are concerned that their kid is not at a reading level that they think they should be at, or their kid is frustrated in math or whatever. And usually it comes up with a problem because people are pain driven, right? I have to solve this pain problem
Mhm.
instead of what can I do in advance. And so what I'm hoping is we'll start a swell in our country and we'll do all these things in advance so that we don't have to go through the pains.
And before you started K6 Easy, you talked about, previous you were a tutor, an educational private tutor for 17 years.
Right.
How did that start?
My daughter, it really started with my kids because my daughter could talk at 6 months old. "Hi, how are you? Have a nice day. I'm not eating that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was kinda wild to see her talking like that, and then my son, when he was born, he stood up. He was walking at 4 months, going up and down the stairs with challenging himself with no
Dang.
arms. So I saw the gifts in my children, and my son, when he was 1, said, "Mom, check this out." I said, "What, bud?" He goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 100. So I saw the gifts in my children, and I'm an educator, and I love to supplement. But then when they went to kindergarten, there were some things they didn't really get in the classroom, so I supplemented a little here and there, and my daughter jumped 5 reading levels with one 20-minute program.
Wow.
So if a parent comes up to me and says, "My kid's struggling with reading," I do this 20-minute program.
What was it what did she learn or what step did she get past to jump those 5
I
levels?
think it was confidence. A lot of our kids lack
Okay.
confidence, and she a lot of her kids are very, very bright. You can't trick them. You can't
No,
manipulate 'em, you can't whatever, you
no.
can't say you're doing a great job. She has to know, she knows, she knows.
Yeah.
So once she knows, then she flies, but she's not necessarily a risk taker when she was little, whatever. Now she's different or whatever. She's
Okay.
definitely opening.
She's the artistic one in the family,
Yes.
right? Now, I never during the show, I never waste an opportunity to talk about my grandson, Oliver, who's 6.5 months old. Amnon's laughing. Never waste a chance to bring him up because this grandparent club is a blast to be in. So he's 6.5 months old. They live in Charlotte, so we're going to see them this weekend because I called my son over the weekend and said, "Hey, I need a fix. Can we come visit?" So and he wisely said yes. Plus, they had nothing going on. We're starting to read to him just regular, that I've got the Hop on Pop because that's my name is Pop, and just the Dr. Seuss books. My wife has one. Or should we just start reading anything to them just so they can start processing and hearing, or
So I'm not sure, does he have
make me the great grandparent, make me the great grandfather out there that's tell me
so
what I can do.
so most kids love something. Mickey Mouse,
Okay.
something. There's something on TV, Teletubbies, whatever it may
Yes.
be. What does he have something?
He likes motion. The dog loves to watch horses run, so he's been watching horses run a lot because they have a dog that
So
loves
he likes
watching horses run.
transportation, like
Uh,
when you said motion,
hadn't thought of it that way, but he watches soccer with his dad,
right?
so it's just stuff that's moving. He seems to be drawn to that. So yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but
So
yeah.
so every kid, every person has a high interest,
Okay.
and it develops over time. It changes. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he's not gonna say he loves Teletubbies. He's not gonna love Teletubbies when he's 4 or whatever. But if he loves soccer, then you find soccer books, or if he
Okay.
loves transportation, you find car books.
Yeah.
Usually 3-year-old boys love dinosaurs. So you find
Mhm.
so if
Yeah.
it's really super high interest, they'll be very, very into reading along and wanting to know more. They'll be very curious. So
Mm.
what notice what lights them up
Yeah.
and then see if you can find a book that's associated with what lights them up.
Okay. Well, the thing that makes him the happiest, and it works for me, is he wants to be held adult level high and walk around the house for hours, which I'm more than happy to do. The
So
what
so go around the room and put words at that height so you walk around the
Oh,
room.
okay. Very good. We look at a lot of pictures because
Uh,
my son and his wife have a lot of pictures. But yeah, his stake in this is, all right, I'll hold you, but you're gonna have to listen to me sing to you. So and fortunately his hearing hasn't registered properly to hear how bad I sing, but he gets to hear me sing a lot of songs. So we have a lot of fun with that. So
my
okay, I hadn't thought about that with
My daughter
motion.
loved Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when she was little, and
Really?
no matter what season, and so if ever she was upset, the summer, I'd have to sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So if he loves your songs or whatever, that's another way too, and
Yeah.
even if you wrote out the songs and he could follow along, put the little
Okay.
pictures on top.
Huh, hadn't thought about that. Yeah, my boys thankfully grew up with the Ninja Turtles, which I
Good,
love, and we passed on that Barney stuff. That just didn't work for us,
right.
so, but
There's a lot of men who hate Barney, it's
I
pretty
just
funny.
didn't see but anyways. So, and I guess that's the thing, learning to figure out, and it's a trial and error thing to figure out what they're gonna connect with, right?
It's actual notice,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and you know what I mean? You
I got you,
notice,
okay.
yeah, and then there could be some trial and error on other things, but first notice, try to imagine you're them, what interests them, because
Yeah,
that's the focus, is what piques their interest.
okay. I like that. So back to your BNI chapter, did you find out who is a natural referral partner for you, not only in your chapter, but within BNI?
See, that's where I feel like I have an anomaly. I don't,
Mhm. Yeah,
anybody who works with schools and wants to, promote to the schools, we can partner together. But a lot of times it's, parents come to the meeting, but that's not really a profession, and that
yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
So anybody who's in education, and I'm still looking for that scholastic.
Alright, so Amnon Scholastic, company that makes the books and all that stuff, Pam's looking for a connection, so if you know people, get working on that. Trying to see if you're listening. Education is a tough thing to ask for, so, and obviously in BNI, is there anybody else that does what you do? I don't think there
No,
is.
I don't.
Okay, so you're able to go visit other chapters.
Absolutely, that's a
Do
benefit
you?
of mine too.
Yes.
When you're an anomaly, you
Yeah,
can go all over the place.
yeah.
And Bull City, Toby Bowen blessed me with a wonderful grant in a school system. So, you know, and that's the beauty of BNI. It's cross BNI.
Yeah.
So as an anomaly, I can go different places, and if people have stuff, that can work too. And so I've done that too as well.
When you go visit other chapters and after when the meeting's over and people come up to you, what is it that they heard? Is there a common thing that people hear that get them to come talk to you, or the fact that there's somebody out there that can help them?
Actually, a lot of grandparents. Than my
Really?
grandchild. No, I wanna help my grandchild.
Okay.
Or
I'm
they'll
there.
say, "I wanna help my kids,"
Yeah.
'cause they're both working and they seem to be struggling, and I wanna help my kid, I wanna help them or whatever, and so I get a lot of grandparents, actually.
Hmm. That would make sense because 'cause I'm always on the lookout. My kids, I told them they're out of the will. Grandkids, they keep them coming, so and going back to the learning part of it, because obviously books on tape, parents drive adults driving around all the time doing that. Have you found that with kids that's kind of,
Well,
popular?
it's multisensory.
Yeah.
So, when they're little, like an infant, he wouldn't necessarily follow along, but when they're a little bit older, they can notice the words they know, and, we're all about phonics, but sometimes
Yes.
hearing the word and visually just seeing that word is very beneficial. It's very confidence boosting.
So if you're a parent of a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-year-old and you're running errands, going to going to daycare, going to school, or just running errands, kind of what should you play? What should you put on the radio, put a CD in?
So there's a lot of math songs I think would be great because a lot of
Oh,
kids are nervous about math.
yeah.
And
A lot of
then
adults are nervous about that.
I love math, and it's kinda weird because usually females aren't into math as much as I am, but, there's an old thing, Schoolhouse Rock. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So, kids should be watching that because it's musical, it's multisensory,
Yeah.
it's numbers,
Hmm.
and it's not just, math, it's also, everything. They've got the bill, and I can't remember all of them off
Oh,
the top of my head,
yeah.
and
And
conjunction,
can
junction,
what's your
what's your
functions?
function?
Yes.
So we can remember that because it's
Those are
musical,
old school, yeah.
but you can get them on YouTube. Wouldn't be the best quality, but, and I know that you could get the originals or whatever,
Wow.
but those kids
Yeah,
should be listening to them 2, 3, 4 years old. So when they get to kindergarten, math is numbers are not a big anomaly. It's not like, oh,
yeah.
and if your child loves cars, count the cars. Okay, we got 5 cars. They're gonna be so interested because they love cars. Okay, let's take one away. How many left? 4. Well, you just taught them subtraction.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not even in school yet. So,
Okay.
not that we want them to be whatever, you just don't want that nervousness about math because everybody sometimes comes with that nervousness, and math is math facts, 9 times 7, 1 plus 3, those
Mhm.
kinds of things, and the steps, and you have to do a certain step. So, the first, 1
Okay.
plus 1 is 2, the step is add them together, and adding is counting up, and subtracting is counting back.
Yeah.
It's very simple, but if your child
Yeah.
comes to school with this, because the parent might have that,
Yeah.
then
Mm.
they get overwhelmed quicker.
Yeah, and I grew up playing sports, and that's where I learned a lot of my math is just doing a batting average. Okay, you got, 50 at bats, you got 20 hits, I ain't batting 400, it's pretty good. So it's funny how you can learn on things like
My
that.
son was football.
Yeah.
So he could 7, 14, 21,
Oh, he's good
27.
on his sevens,
No,
isn't
yeah,
he?
no, I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow," and that's the whole thing, it's high
Oh,
interest
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So he liked football, and maybe the soccer game, you can point out the soccer goal or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, he enjoys watching it with his dad, so but it's funny though, what when you look back on it now, and I'd forgotten about Schoolhouse Rock. That was huge growing up. That was
Yeah.
every Saturday morning
And it was
and
fun,
all
and
that
it's
stuff. Yeah.
supplementing. It's not, and
Yeah.
now teachers do it in the classroom, they show those videos, but it wouldn't hurt your kid to watch it 4 or 5 more times at home, and
Okay.
that tune gets stuck in their head.
Hmm. I like that. So you're gonna sing that at your next 10-minute presentation, right?
I know, yeah, my daughter says her voice is her instrument, it's not mine.
So what is the capacity for K6 Easy if you're got people from Africa calling you, you're in Texas now? I mean, what's next? What's 2019 like for you, and how much can you grow, and how many states do you want? Do you
Yeah,
want world domination or just enough
yeah.
domination?
I actually, it breaks my heart to see parents worried about their kids.
Yeah.
So, if the parent's Canadian, African, Indian, Japanese, whatever, I wanna break that.
For a lot of that, for us parents, is a lot of it is just asking for the help. Is that the biggest hurdle?
Not realizing there is simple solutions, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And
Like Schoolhouse Rock, how easy is that for you? Like, I give simple things, and a lot of our kids are addicted on electronics nowadays,
yes.
and I tell them, "If there's only one thing you get from me today, is when your child is at a restaurant and they're not having it, they're bored, the adults are talking about something fun. If you could just, instead of pulling in and reaching out your phone, you pull out and give them a book, because electronics reduces their attention. And so
Yeah.
the more you reduce their attention span, the more they can't pay attention in class. So you are hurting your child by letting them have electronics in the grocery store while you're grocery shopping. They can still have electronics, but we can't have it 24.
Thankfully, when my boys growing up, they're 30, like 32 and 28 now. That wasn't an
But
option,
your
which was good.
grandchild.
It is. And my son
Yes.
and I have talked about that because I know growing up, and I think you're probably the same way, is we just went out in the backyard and
Right.
we found 7 other kids and we made up games. Okay, what? There's 7 of us. That's an uneven number. How we can do this? And my friends and I playing baseball, like, okay, this car's first base, the manhole covers second base. So you literally had to figure that out to play a game with 3 on 2 or 4
Right.
on 3, which I love. Just, we'd go out for the day and we'd come home. They say when the street lights turn on, come home.
Yep,
But that was a
and
whole nother
now it's
world.
Google it, and you get the answer that quick, so you don't have to
Yeah.
think, you don't have to wait, so you could become jittery and impulsive. It's an epidemic.
Then how do you incorporate electronics in the learning system for the kids where it's used properly?
Well, I mean, you could see Schoolhouse Rock, that's a
Yep.
video or whatever, but it's more educational
Yep.
and that kind of stuff versus, killing somebody or
Yeah.
whatever they're doing on their games and stuff like that.
So do you look back you probably look back when you grew up, right? Knowing what you know now, doing what you're doing now, probably get a chuckle on a couple things of, huh,
But
right?
so I actually skipped 2 grades in
Oh, are you showing off
elementary,
again?
and I was 16 in college,
Oh,
and
wow.
the big thing was somebody asked me the other day, "What was it?" And I said, "I did what the teacher said."
Yeah.
And so she said, "Practice with this hand," and then I'd practice with my left hand, and so I actually can write upside down, I can do all this weird stuff because I just kept going and just that's my thing, I love learning, I'm a avid student. But whatever the teacher would say to do, I do, and a lot of teachers tell their parents, how supplement with their math facts, and
Mm,
the parents don't understand the ramifications of them not
yeah.
doing that, and I get kids would rather be on electronics than doing that. Well, then you have to figure that out. Maybe you earn the right for electronics by doing this first or
Yeah.
whatever.
And going back to the writing, I think is my mom and my mother-in-law, I think are the only 2 people in the last 5 years I got a letter from a
Right?
handwritten letter, but B, it was in cursive. I don't think they teach that anymore, do
They're
they?
starting to, so,
Are they?
yeah, so some schools do, some teachers do. Cursive is actually easier than printing because printing, you have to get your hand off the paper when you
Oh,
go
yeah,
whereas
okay.
cursive, it's kind of more like, drawing. So cursive is actually easier to learn than printing.
Mine are so bad in both. It's just
Well, that's a sign of giftedness usually, because if you ever look at a doctor's handwriting,
yeah.
it's
Well, I thought there's a reason they wrote like that so the patients couldn't read it,
read
only the nurses and medical staff could understand
right,
it, so
and boys' handwriting doesn't fully develop till 7th grade. I think everybody should know
really?
that. Yeah, so
Oh.
we should have expectations that are reasonable within that grade level,
Oh, I didn't
you
know
know?
that. Okay. No, I don't think my family members would say my bad handwriting is a sign of giftedness, but I'm gonna throw that out at the next family reunion. I think I like that. So, how are you able to help teachers? I know you have the books, which are wonderful things, but
Right.
how do you get to them one-on-one and help them in the classroom that fits with their curriculum?
So one of the things that I tell them, an easy thing is when you're sending home homework, if you could do the first question and then make your copies, now the
Oh,
parents can have something to reference. The child who can't recall the lesson can
yeah,
have something to reference. And now the drama is less. So if you could just fill out the first one as a sample and then make your copies,
that makes
you
sense.
would save the teacher a lot of time with parents calling, "My kid doesn't understand," or emailing and all that. But if I could just get that one thing that teachers could do before they send it home, I think that would be huge because then an adult can intervene
Then you
more
can see how,
and not be
okay.
worried they're not teaching the way they taught it at school because the parent wasn't there for the lesson.
That makes sense, and it's tough on the parents as the older the kids got, because my oldest son was in the IB program in high school, and I was done. I'm like, "Dude, I can't help you, but let me get it because at some level, based on your education, you kinda like, I can't help as much," and I know that's probably a frustration that you hear from parents as well,
Right.
right?
But I also know when you Google anything, they can find it.
Yeah.
So you're so my son is in a pre-calc class and he was able to find the teacher edition of the textbook. So it's not that he's cheating, it's showing him how
Oh,
to do the answers. It's not the test or whatever, but it helps him to
huh.
verify that he was correct in this little bit more complicated class. And so he found it. I didn't Google it, I didn't whatever, but I empower him
Yeah.
to look for, ways to supplement. And for him, it's like, oh, he just got to, yes, I'm doing it right. Or whoops, I'm missing that step. And my kids know that it's more about effort than intelligence. So
Yeah.
it's not like you look one time and then you get it. You put in the work, you get the benefit.
Well, it's a nice confidence boost for him to figure to see that, "Oh, I am doing it right," or, "I
Yeah.
understand it, I'm doing it right."
Yeah.
Wow.
And he found it all by himself, and I wasn't involved at all, and he just happened to mention it to me, and I thought, "Wow."
Is there a correlation with bilingual students as to level of education or things they grasp more?
What I've found in the younger ones is that the bilingual students have, parents who speak another language at home, so they don't have as much confidence in the reading because it's second language, and
Okay.
so they benefit tremendously from all these confidence boosting things that I can show them, because they're not getting that repetition at home.
Okay.
And, that's one
That
of the
would
kids who hugged
yeah.
me, jumped up
Okay.
and hugged me or whatever,
Yeah.
like, because they just need
That
to
would make
know.
sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Are most of your tutoring sessions online?
Actually, more people prefer them in person, I think,
Good.
especially when the kid is nervous or whatever, they
Yeah.
like that, but I do some online, not as many. I've got one parent who wants to be involved in the session with her child so she can enhance, which I love,
Good.
because a lot of people sometimes say, "Fix my kid," if you
Yeah.
will, and that's not what it's about.
And it's what they do to the teachers. They send them to school and
Right.
yeah, same
Right.
thing. What is the biggest challenge with a student the very first time you're meeting with them on tutoring?
The hardest kid I ever had was the one who was so, and it took forever
Oh,
to even get them to kinda pay attention because they were
yeah.
so embarrassed about how they were doing, and that one took several sessions before I could even get them to open up, and it was one of the first kids I thought I couldn't reach,
Yeah.
but I did eventually, but it I didn't wasn't sure in the beginning because, and that broke my heart going, "Why this child is so, ashamed."
Are there different challenges with tutoring at different age levels and grade levels, or is it
It's funny because every time I have a kid, I think, "Oh, I love that age." And then I have
Yeah.
another one that's younger, and I'm like, "I love that age." And, 5th grade, they're a little more mature, and they're going to middle school, and they're
Mhm.
very whatever, and so it's easier in some ways because they're more mature. And
Oh,
and so
okay.
and they wanna go to middle school, and they wanna be successful, so they're motivated and whatever. But then I'll have a 2nd grader, a 3rd grader, cute as can be, and, jump up and hug me, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, um, anyway.
And any difference between boys and girls at how to tutor them or challenges with them?
Um I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. I think, a lot of girls are afraid of math. It's a
Yeah.
common thing. And generally, they say women are talkers and men are, not talkers or
Yeah.
whatever. And so, but, no, I don't see any big difference. I think there's a common theme that they're missing similar things.
Is there a common theme with one parent or two parent households?
So I feel like a lot of things are genetic, and so your child is a combination of both of. But but my son thinks like me, and I think my daughter might think more like her dad,
Yeah.
and so sometimes maybe reaching my daughter might be a little different. I
Mhm.
have to think differently than with my son. I just would do it the
Yeah.
way I do. So my daughter, ingenious as she is, said when she was in kindergarten, said, "Mom, teachers like to give instructions and they like to follow their directions. I'd like to see them in a different way, but I'm a." And then she says, "Teachers teach the way they learn, and
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
learn the way teachers."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty insightful for a young child.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my wife and I are different how we look at things because she's got that pilot mentality checklist where and I'm just all over the place, and but again, different things within that plan would do, "Oh, okay, I got that," and then she'll other things she's like, "How come you didn't see that?" Well,
Right,
I have bad handwriting,
right.
but now that I know it's gifted, I'm tell her that, so we our guest today, Pam Goodman with K6 Easy. If you have opportunities to help your kids or you see situations, if you're a teacher or an administrator or somebody that may want to learn some more and get better at this and help people understand uh, how to help the students better and empower the students, please go to k6easy.com. Pam, it's been wonderful learning about this today. You are an anomaly in BNI. We've not had this discussion yet, so it's wonderful to learn more. And I got something out of it as a longtime parent, but as a grandparent as well. So appreciate you being on the show. So please go to k6easy.com. Check out Pam's work. Please give her a call if you or someone you know could benefit from her work. It's good stuff. And you can check out our show next week with Micah Perrick with IWP Photography. Thanks for joining us on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.